What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Stand Your Ground. I'm your host, as always, Alex Bennis, and I am joined by both members of the Mighty Whites podcast, Jack Robshaw and Casey.
Yeah, mate, how's things?
Aye, not too bad. How are you two doing? Have you recovered from, going and witnessing a murder?
It was a pre-season game.
Yeah. You played Everton, then you played us, and the season started.
Yeah.
And then you played Everton.
Yeah, we drew. We've got 1 point from one game. We're doing fine.
Shut up.
We were speaking before we actually went live. It does seem a bit strange that we've been away for 1 week and somehow have ended up with 2 weeks worth of games to cover. But we aren't going to go through all the games that we missed from the first round of fixtures. I guess the main thing that we can say is, Brentford looked really strong in that opening game. Arsenal didn't. There was a few eye-catching score lines, and well done to Trevor Chalobah, because that were a good goal.
Yeah, that was a good goal. I was pleased for Chalobah, because obviously I don't want Chelsea to win any games, really, unless they're against Man United. So, but I still think, well done him.
Yeah. But we might as well just jump straight into the game roundups for this week, which is the Saturday, not the Friday, if it wants to load. Opening game, Liverpool 2, Burnley 0. Not a classic Liverpool performance, and I think Dwight McNeil probably will feel a bit unlucky to not at least have an assist during this game. But do you think Liverpool do look back to themselves, back to the team that did walk the Premier League 2 seasons ago?
They don't quite look that good. They look better. They look the way you phrased it the first time I thought was right, because you said they look like themselves. Yeah, they don't look back to their best, but they do look like themselves again. I only saw the highlights of the second half of this because I had to leave to go to Welland Road at half time. But in the first half, they were very comfortable throughout. It was very much light work, I believe the phrase is.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Burnley really pulled up any trees in this one either. Like you say, I think Dwight McNeil had a decent game, but as starts to the season go, Liverpool will be, one, very happy with the fixture list itself, and two, how they've started with these 2 games. Both the games you meant to win, they've done it, and they've looked comfortable doing it.
Although there was a lot of annoyed people. There was a lot of annoyed people on Twitter because Salah did sod all. I mean, he scored a goal that got disallowed, but that doesn't count for your fantasy team.
Yeah, I know, bastard. I had him as my captain as well.
So did I, because I made it. It literally took to the second week for me to forget to change my team.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I do think Diego Jota at this point is ahead of Firmino in the pecking order. And to be honest, if I were Jurgen Klopp, I know Mane scored in this game, but I'd be looking at maybe putting Jota out on that left and playing Firmino, because I think he seems to be overall more effective than what Sadio Mane does.
I won't be looking at dropping Mane yet, but because he's still brilliant. He's still a really good player. What it means now is that they've got 4 for those 3 positions, and it just means that there's less of a drop off. And if his Blackburn form last season is anything to go off, obviously it's early days, but Harvey Elliott's a real option as well. So they're going to be one of the top 4. It's just a matter of which one.
Top.
Yeah, Harvey Elliott were fantastic. And to be honest, I think Tsimikas had a lot better of a game against Burnley than what he did against Norwich. You can tell that he's not played a lot of regular football for Liverpool since he signed last season. But he looked more comfortable in this game than he did against Norwich.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about how little football he's had. That I watched the first half of this with my dad before we went to Welland Road, and his first question was, "Who's he then?"
How much does this guy weigh?
Look at the adjective, play.
Oh no, he is here to play. Finally.
But yeah, moving on from that to another 2-0 victory. Aston Villa beating Newcastle, and Danny Ings absolutely rifling one with his bicycle kick.
There's something about the majesty of Danny Ings' strike that does in no way go with the long throw that came just before it. You know, there's something about a player meeting, across from the wide areas, and having to adjust the body and react to the swerve and dip of the ball over that amount of time. And then there's Danny Ings, who absolutely fantastic strike, but it does come from a long throw in.
No one's going to remember the long throw. You won't remember whether in 3 weeks whether it was a corner, free kick, open play, cross throw. It could be anything. What you'll remember is that strike. And obviously,
no, mate, Matty Cash's looping throw.
And besides, you can't have them. You can't think of Villa and long throws because West Brom are nearby and they're really doing long throws. They're doing them brilliantly. Yeah. So, but like Ings, obviously he was expensive for someone with his injury record, but he's a great striker. If he stays fit, he'll score a shitload of goals.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how the play that leads up to his goals is. Remember, he's Danny Ings in a Dean Smith side. I was annoyed, though, that they let El Ghazi take the penalty afterwards because I've got Danny Ings up top and he took the last fucking penalty, so why did he not take this one?
Did Ings win it? I can't remember who won the pen.
I think El Ghazi actually did win it, so...
Oh, they might have it, because a lot of teams have the opposite rule, like the guy that wins it doesn't take it. And they've maybe got three or four penalty takers. So if one of them wins it, they get to claim it. Yeah.
We already got a comment. If Arsenal keep their players, they can make top 6 next season, then at least they can have the chance of the playoffs to get immediate promotion back to the Premier League.
Yep. Well...
Sorry, even before the joke of relegation, I just like the thought of if Arsenal can keep their players.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
We'll come on to Arsenal a bit more later because obviously the result they had this weekend wasn't really a disgrace, but it looked like 2 teams in different divisions.
It's weird, isn't it, that a team can make two signings, spend 80 million quid and only have one player that's different to the side that they had last season.
Yeah, well, that's COVID for you.
Palace versus Brentford ended 0-0, and we probably won't talk a lot about this.
But literally, based on match of the day, Brentford were a little bit unlucky not to win it. But Benteke's header late on, he should have probably scored, so fair enough.
Yeah, Patrick Vieira will be happy to at least have got a point under his belt because
he better not be. He better not be happy with a point at home to Brentford. That's not a good result.
I think he will be. I think he'll actually be really chuffed that they've got off the mark because
he's doing better than Arsenal.
Yes.
Yep.
But yeah, I think because I'm looking at this Brentford side, it's very much a case of the team that's come. It's kind of like you were last year, the team that's come up to play football, to attack teams, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But they are just putting it out there, and I think a draw against them is probably a decent result early on in the season.
Yeah, it's one of them things, though. Palace are one of the teams with a real shout, but with real chance of going down. So any home game they have against a team that you'd expect to be in the bottom half, they'll be thinking we need to win this. And they won't win all of them because no one does, especially not down the bottom. But that's what they'll be going into each of them thinking.
Yeah. So onto a game that you two will probably like to speak about. Maybe not like to speak about. I don't know. I don't know what your reaction is to this result. Leeds 2, Everton 2.
It was a good game, this, to be honest. Being at the game, obviously, I had the stress levels of being at a game. So I just thought it was a good game, Matt. And then I came out to, see the reaction of neutrals that was a brilliant game. They absolutely, because it was like end to end and stuff, and the way that they set up, they kind of sat, so they let us have the ball. So we played a lot of nice stuff in the first half, especially, but we didn't really create enough chances with it. It was when I'd say like over 90 minutes on the balance of the play, we were the better side, but the balance of the actual chances, Everton were probably slightly better. So a draw was a fair result, really. Liam Cooper gave away a penalty for a shirt pull on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which from where I was in the ground looked like a blatant dive, and then I saw it back on telly and it was definitely a penalty. So I apologise to Dominic Calvert-Lewin for shouting, "Get up, you diving bastard."
and then shortly afterwards we're shouting, "Get up, Richarlison, you diving bastard."
No, I stand by that.
I was just saying you were replacing one with the other.
Yeah. But yeah, like that was a poor goal to give away. Everton's second goal, Damari Gray, who had a very good game, really caused a lot of problems. Running at people, direct, putting a couple of good crosses, scored goal. It was poor defending from Stuart Dallas. He just backed off him and let him turn in the penalty area, which you can't do. But Rafinha scored a belter to get us out of jail. But yeah, a fair result really, and it's nice to get something on the board. Although it's one of the games that we'll look at the end of the season and think probably should have won that one.
Yeah, it's nice to see Damari Gray come back from Bayer Leverkusen and look like the player that he first did when he burst onto the scene at Leicester. Because when he first...
Come on, we were in the Championship then. He burst onto the scene at Birmingham. It was really good before we. It was really good before we went to Leicester. It's just a lot fewer people saw it.
But he had a bit of a nosedive at the tail end of his career at Leicester. But for 1.8 million, looks like he's going to be a bag. Probably, maybe for the amount of money, might be the signing of the season for Everton.
Well, I think I said a similar thing on his prediction, saying he has the potential to be one at bargains at season there, and if he plays like that all season, he will have, because he was very good and he was a threat throughout.
I mean, at 1.8 million, if he plays like that for a quarter of the season, you've probably got your money's worth.
4 good games.
Yeah.
Yeah. But instead of 4, replace that with 5, and it's Man City versus Norwich.
I tell you what,
saw this coming.
It's not looking good for Norwich, and I know it's not an ideal start to the season.
Yeah,
but
disclaimer: they have had a very, very, very hard start to the season.
But you do have to say though, and I know we got upset about it last season for the amount of times it got used. But the word naivety gets thrown around. But at times, there was some very naive defending going on from Norwich, and that's kind of that's been my concern with them. I think technically, as attacking team, that they are, they're a decent team, but I'm not entirely sure where the Premier League quality leadership is coming from defensively, or sort of ability really. I don't look at them as being physically strong enough, like a classic Pulis team or something like that, where, all right, they're not the best set of defenders, but they might bully you out of a game. And I don't think technically they're the quality of defenders you want either.
No. Well, I think we said last time, and I think it's true, Norwich have done what they did the previous time. They've come up, not broke the bank, not pushed it too far. If they go down, they'll probably win the Championship the season after. Like, it's very sensible and a bit annoying to watch, because you're like, no, have a go on. But it is probably a sensible way to run a club, as much as it's not fun.
Yeah. And the other thing that I learned this week, because I clearly missed it last week, is that it is Max Aarons and not Max Aarons.
No, it's Max Aarons, and I don't care if he says it's Aarons. No.
Well, it wasn't him; it was his brother that is going by Aarons. So,
well, his brother's fucking wrong.
On the subject of names, it was another person who changed their name rocking up for Derby this weekend alongside 35-year-old Curtis Davis was 39-year-old Phil Jagielka.
Yeah, but at least he always said it was that. But he's another one where everyone went, "Nah, I'm not having that one, Phil."
Now we've got too long now.
Jagielka.
That's why you're Nick. That's why Colin called you Jags.
And yeah, you're not Yigs.
But
I bet Steve Bruce would love to call him Jags.
Yeah.
That's a niche reference.
A hell of a reference is that maybe 4 people will get.
So Tim Krul own goal. Jack Grealish opening up his account in probably not the best.
Spectacular fashion. What a hit. For a £100 million player, it was kind of the same as Javier Hernandez kicking the ball off his own face.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. The second best kicking it in off your own face behind that Forest Green defender that smashed it into his own nose, broke his nose, and scored an own goal.
That's all I'm going to be thinking about now, is his name.
Emerick Laporte, Raheem Sterling.
No, it's not Emerick Laporte. He didn't do that.
And then Riyad Mahrez coming off the bench as well to get one. I think everybody expected City to walk away with this. It was just a case of by how many.
Wayne Hatswell. Yeah, sorry, that's his name. In this game, like obviously they won it easy. They were miles better, as you'd expect. But I thought Gabriel Jesus was very, very good from what I saw. Stuck out wide, and he was just everything he did was a threat the entire game. It is weird that they've only got one striker in the squad and they chose to play him on the right wing.
and the right winger as the striker.
But they won 5-0, so
I mean that's the thing when you have that quality, that was very much a team that could have played with 5 attacking midfielders and no strikers. The same thing's going to happen anyway. There was absolute quality on show. The one thing I do feel sorry for Gabriel Jesus for, and I think I said this before, is that he just looks permanently worried. And I don't know if that's because he spent a whole summer with them going, well, we are buying a striker. He is going to cost a lot of money, so he will be first choice. And he's just sat there going, I'm right here.
He's right.
Could you not? Yeah.
And then on to the late kickoff for the Saturday. Brighton 2, Watford 0. And we said that, I think everyone said this last season, that Brighton played better than what their league position made out to be. And it feels like that form is kind of carrying over, but they're finally converting these chances that they should have been last season.
Well, the Neil Maupay goal was the exact sort of chance he was missing last season. I mean, yeah, Watford absolutely gifted him it on the play. It was terrible playing out from back. Good work from Bissouma to intercept, But that's the sort of chances they were missing. Like Shane Duffy's header, that's from distance and it's gone right in the top corner in off the angle. Like, that's probably only going in 1 out of 25. You're not going to score that very often. But the Maupay chance, that's the one that they need to do, and they did. So, yeah, they were the better side again, all this. I know they won on the opening day, but I think, did we all have Watford going down in this prediction?
Yeah, I had them second bottom.
I didn't.
Oh, did you have them staying up, Keswick? So two or three of us did. The win against Villa was a good result, but I still haven't seen up that'll change my mind yet.
Yeah, and they're very much nearly through that away as well.
Yeah.
I will say from this game, I thought Ian Bissouma was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they'll have done really well if they manage to keep him past the deadline. I mean, obviously they don't need the money because they've just got 50 million for Ben White, but surely someone's going to come in and buy him because he's really good.
This feels like it's copy and paste for Ben White last year. They'll do really well if they keep him, all season.
Yeah, I mean, I hate saying this, but
those are great words.
Yeah, it's because I don't want to say it, but it'd be a really, really good signing for Man United. Like
Shudders.
He'd be really good in that midfield. Please don't sign him.
I did.
We could have done with him.
I did enjoy as well because I had final score on during the afternoon, and I did hear someone refer to Alexis Alistair.
Alexis Alistair, nice.
Yeah. Well, the space between the Mac and Alistair really threw him off. I don't know if he's gone. That's a bit pretentious, middle name as well.
Yeah,
fucking
get rid of
Scottish
that.
Argentinian.
Yeah. You could call him Ali.
So moving on to the Sunday, and I really wish we did have Basuma for fucking Sunday, because I don't know what went through Solskjaer's head. Of we played Leeds, a really great attacking side, on the day, and we beat them 5-1, and went, nah, we need to swap and change, and it just went wrong.
Well, McTominay, I know, had a knock, which is why he dropped out, because that was the first thing I said when I saw that team was bloody Franz Beckenbauer had a fantastic 70 minutes against us and then came off. So I was very surprised to see him drop out. But yeah, he had the injury.
And it was the way Solskjaer talked about Martial coming in. Like, it was the equivalent of saying, well, I've got to give him a go. Like you're coaching the under-9s, and it's only fair. You've got to start him sometimes. Like, that's what he sounded like. It's because like, I played him because, I probably should. I mean, he's a good player, but he doesn't get in that team.
No.
It's a very strange thing as well when you come off at such a great result as Man United had in that friendly against Leeds. I don't understand why second game of the season you've already gone, best rest a couple of people here. We'll rejig the midfield. Like, no, you're coming in to play a potentially weakened Southampton side at this point, having lost a few players. Surely you'd want to roll forward with the momentum of having just scored 5 and think, well, let's go get a few more then. Like, why interrupt that? Why break stride for that? And for first 15 minutes, you probably should have had 3. And it serves you right.
I'm probably going to get pretty ranty about this. Martial is not a fucking striker. Not for Man United. Why take Greenwood out of that position that he played really well in against you? He's probably the best finisher that we've got outside of Cavani, who's injured at the moment. So Greenwood is the obvious choice for me to go up top. Dan James had a good game against you. He actually put himself about, made a few decent challenges, which we didn't see much of last season from him. So to swap Dan James out did make sense to me. And I know McTominay had his injury, so Matic was the obvious person to put into that position, because there's no point at this point in time moving Pogba back when he started the season really well playing on that left-hand side. But we've just signed Jadon Sancho, who can play left or right. And we're still just going to keep bringing him off the bench.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think he'll be in for the next one. He's probably just trying to ease it. A lot of managers overcomplicate things when it comes to stuff like this. We are overlooking the fact that Southampton were good in this game. Like, obviously, Man United started really quickly and should have had goals early, but even though Man United probably did have more chances, there was long periods of that game where Southampton got on top. And obviously, Che Adams' goal, big deflection, decent strike, got a bit lucky. But that Adam Armstrong chance in the second half, like, he has to bury that. It's a sitter. So it could have been a really good win for him.
Yeah, if he puts that either side in, he just seemed to hit it too central. I think he focused on trying to get too much power behind it than just placing it. And
I believe it. I'm from the goals I've seen him score, I'm fairly sure he's right-footed. I think he was just trying to make good contact because it was his weak side, and not really. I don't think he had as much confidence.
Yeah. But onto a player who had no confidence under Jose Mourinho, but seems to have a lot of confidence now. Spurs 1, Wolves 0, and Dele Alli scoring the penalty. He looks like he's lost about 10 yards of pace whilst Mourinho was manager, but he seems to be getting his confidence back.
What, you mean like Luke Shaw did?
Yeah.
What, you mean like Henrik Mkhitaryan did?
Oh,
you mean like Chris Smalling did? You mean like Lukaku did? He does that. He picks some players and he does them in. And even on the documentary, his first day, first thing he said was, "You're the shit trainer, Ali." Like,
yeah, it's the one thing for me when I look at him now, and again, here's another reference for the kids. I look at Dele Alli and think, God, Richard Shaw can still do a job in this division.
Yeah, he's got technically way better.
I know. Yeah, it's very. I'm glad to see him back because obviously, one as an English player with talent, I'm glad to see him getting back in the team, and he is the sort of player you want to be building your midfield around because. Yes, he is the sort of player that every now and again you're going to get a 4 out of 10 performance from him, but he can just do things in moments to create chances and score goals. It's just very strange now getting used to seeing either Son or Moura as kind of the focal point in that team, and I think it'd be Son more likely. What did you guys think to Harry Kane coming on?
Yeah, I was just going to say, getting 20 minutes?
It seemed an odd thing to, like, after all that's gone on, to go, yeah, we'll put him out for 20 minutes. I'd have played him in Europe personally and see if we could have cut-side him, but I'm petty like that.
Well, I think that they are genuinely planning on him still being there. Because I don't think anyone's going to pay the money that Levy wants. So I think he'll still be there all season. So they need to use him because he's a world-class striker. Although it was weird because he got that one big chance and it's the sort of one that he almost never misses, and he did.
Yeah.
I say he almost never misses chances like that. I'm sure he misses them all the time and I just don't remember them because I'm focused on the goals he scores.
To be honest, there probably is a little bit of doubt in the back of his head now as well, especially after Lewandowski's come out and said that he's looking at a new venture away from Bayern.
He's not going anywhere. He's like 33 and they want 100 million. And Juve can't do that again.
And Paris Saint-Germain have bolstered their attacking options.
PSG bid like, it ends up being Lewandowski and 80 million for Mbappe.
No, I'm very interested. I'd love to know. One day it'll come out. I don't think it'll be this season, but I'd love to know kind of the fallout from, what this gentleman's agreement was outside of the belief that we don't qualify for the Champions League. I can go.
Well, I believe that they have sort of basically officially said it was if we don't get in the top 4 and we don't win a trophy.
Yeah.
Like
which makes the sacking Mourinho like 4 days before the League Cup final even weirder. But I didn't reckon a great deal to Wolves last season. I don't reckon a great deal to him this season. And now it sounds like, even though he's a very hit and miss player, he's massive for him. It sounds like Traore is off. Because he's being linked with Spurs quite heavily now, which would make sense. But he's been linked, like he was linked with us loads, and he's linked with loads of people. And if he's being linked that much, I think that's his agent talking. So I think he's probably going. There's still talk about Neves as well, so it could be a dodgy one for him. This.
Just you wait till deadline day, and he's sat outside Spurs training ground in his car.
No, he's in passenger seat of Peter Odemwingi's car.
It's a funny one with Traore at this point, because yes, he's very quick. Yes, he's very strong, and I do think he does make fantastic runs. But there's only so long you can go with him not really having this end product before you go, well, you can't go. By the time we played them for the second time, he was, must have been 20 odd games into a season without a goal or an assist. And I I know there are stats, and you can kind of start adding into involvement, how involved he was with a goal, if there was a key pass elsewhere. But, at some stage, you do need to score a goal or put the cross in that someone tucks away. I always find it funny, the links to him with us, just because he's not a Bielsa player, is he? Let's be honest.
No, not at all.
There were a part of me, I think it's 2 seasons ago now, when Wolves had Doe and he was injured, and they were playing Traore as a right wing back, and I thought that was going to end up being his position.
That was weird. It was like the reverse Mikel Antonio.
Yeah.
Mikel Antonio was there playing as right wing back, and now he's main centre forward.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he is a talented player, but for the money that is going to be spent on him, I do feel you need to be able to point at some concrete numbers and say, this is why we have spent this.
He's one of them players where if you're a top club, you're not going to play him every week. But a top club would quite like to have him on the bench to come on with 15 minutes left if they're getting beat. Because it isn't just that he does, although he's like final numbers out that great, he does absolutely scare the shit out of defenders, which that obviously really helps in those kind of situations.
Can't even grab hold of him.
It's weird you saying that about having a player on the bench that you'd want to come on for like the last 15 minutes, because Shaqiri's completed a move to Lyon today. And I think that's a good signing for them, to have someone of Shaqiri's caliber to be on the bench to come off. And if you're chasing a game with last 15, he can come up with something for you to win.
Yeah, he's one that's fallen down the pecking order now as well, isn't it? So it's probably the right time for him to move on.
Yeah, but he did well out of that move, didn't he? I mean, he left a team that went down, won league, won Champions League, and moved on. That's just brilliant for him.
Yeah. And I think that means he's won the league in 3 different countries now as well.
Yeah, because he'll have definitely won it at Bayern, and I think he won it at Inter, didn't he?
No, he won't have won it at Inter, because Inter's last one was 2010, and he won at Inter then.
Right.
So he might have Swiss League, probably. But anyway, on to the final game of the Sunday. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 0, and the return of Romelu Lukaku, who scores his debut goal for Chelsea. Well, say debut. His second debut for Chelsea, and somehow becomes the Premier League's 10th top goal scorer ever.
God, is he 10th in that list?
Yeah.
Really?
He's flown up the pecking order. You think about the amount of goals that he used to score.
What is he on, like 110 or something Premier League goals then?
He's on something ridiculous. Well, he broke 100, and I think while he was at Man United. So
I didn't realise he was that high, but I suppose he got like 20 or something in that West Brom season, and then he had back-to-back like 20, 25 goal seasons at Everton, didn't he? So it makes sense, really. I just didn't think about it. He just absolutely bullied him, didn't he?
He looked scary.
He didn't do it in the same way that Drogba used to do it to Arsenal. It's not the same thing. But, like, Arsenal would play against Drogba and just shit themselves, and Drogba would rip them to shreds. This one, I don't think it was a shitting themselves things. It's just that Pablo Mari's not that good, and when he came up against someone as good as Lukaku, who was technically better, cleverer, and much stronger, and much quicker, there was not a single area where Mari could do anything about it, and he just bullied him. It was like watching a Year 11 play against Year 7s.
I'm pretty sure.
He's by the way, it's top 20. He's gone.
Top
20.
Yeah, he's 17 for West Brom, 68 for Everton, 28 for Man U, and 1 for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh, did he never score in his first?
No, that's why it was such a big thing.
Well, I was going to say in the league as well. He only made 10 appearances, but it's put him 1 goal ahead of Ian Wright and 5 behind Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, but honestly, the first half of this game, even though Arsenal did have first 5 minutes better than the last 5 of the half, but the 35 in between, I thought there was a time in this game where I thought Chelsea are going to win this 6-0. Reece James is going to score 2 and set up 4. Because they just left him alone on that right-hand side and just never went near him. It was... They should have won by more than they did.
Watching the highlights back of that as well, I think I said to you after we played Man United, was the thing I thought was interesting that Man United did was they seemed to stick quite tight to Rafinha, and they let Jack Harrison go out to the touchline. So they forced that diagonal ball every time. And as soon as he brought it down, that's when they were on him.
Yeah, go in and press as soon as the ball's in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't happen with this.
Yeah, this was leave him all the space and then do nothing about it. It was... obviously, the first result was a really bad result, and then they've got some tough games, but they didn't look like much.
Yeah,
I was pleased to see that Arsenal continued their trend though of coming back out to wrestling music for the second half. Because obviously on this week of all weeks they came out to Cult of Personality as they should, and I was almost waiting for the Arsenal fans to just go into look on the pitch. What do you see? Mid-table mediocrity. They look like a team that's going to finish 10th. Now, they did have about 7 players missing. So no White, no Lacazette. They didn't have... Aubameyang only came off the bench. Odegaard's not in yet. And there was a couple of others as well.
Yeah.
Because Cedric was playing, so Bellerin must have... Mind you, Bellerin's not been very good lately. No. But yeah, they just don't look like... They don't look like Arsenal.
You mispronounced Bellerin, then it is pronounced Arsenal.
Yeah, but you don't hold high hopes for this Arsenal side playing Man City next, away from home.
Right,
I don't win this.
I'm not saying it's gonna be this score, but would either of you be shocked if it were 6-0?
No, because it'll be Aaron Ramsdale in goal as well.
Yeah, I don't think it will end up that one-sided, but it wouldn't surprise me.
The thing I find really funny about the situation with Bernd Leno now is that, and football is quite good at doing this at times, is that Arsenal have made it abundantly clear in the last couple of years that they really want to replace him, but have brought in shite people to replace him. And now they've spent a lot of money on someone who I think will be a disappointing replacement, and Bernd Leno will be back in the team.
Seriously, when it first got linked, I said, they put it, and I quote to it, and I said, Arsenal, if you spend anywhere near 30 million on Aaron Ramsdale, you need to sack Edu immediately. And it sounds like they've spent 25 plus add-ons.
Yeah, it's up to 30 million, I think, is the fee.
Don't get me wrong, he's not a bad goalkeeper, but he's not that good either.
And I doubt he's the most confident goalkeeper at the moment either. Back-to-back relegations. It doesn't set you up for...
In fairness, he'll be right at home then.
You come off 2 years like that. If you make a few mistakes with the Arsenal crowd, the bloody Arsenal fan TV will be all over him.
Yeah, because they did get on their backs again. And I couldn't blame them. It wasn't that they got beat by Chelsea. Looking at the two teams, they should get beat by Chelsea. It was just so easy for them. They didn't make it difficult at all.
No.
And that's why I was so mad when we lost that friendly. Because the first 15 minutes of the second half we made it incredibly easy. It wasn't getting beat, it was the manner of the defeat. And that's what this is like.
Yeah, and it's going to be really strange, in 2 weeks' time when we've got that bottom of the table clash between Norwich and Arsenal.
Is it Carrow Road?
No, at the Emirates.
Right. If it was at Carrow Road, I'd say I fancy Norwich.
But there is a game going on at the moment, which I'm guessing most people will be watching. West Ham versus Leicester. It's 0-0 after 9 minutes. Any predictions quickly?
No.
One apiece.
I was looking and thinking, is that a Manscaped banner going around the pitch?
Yeah, we don't talk about them here.
They've moved up in the world, haven't they?
We don't talk about that. Not anymore. Yeah, I'm still disappointed in Leicester because, they're not playing Daka, and they ruined my first week fantasy for not playing him. So
I think he will have. I think he'll have claimed the shirt by the end of the season.
Yeah, because
I could do with him doing that in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
because I will keep forgetting to change my team, and he is up front with Patrick Bamford.
Yeah, it's not a slight on Vardy, but I think Vardy will become the guy that plays the last half hour. Fairly soon.
Just gives him more time to sit there chilling out with a Red Bull.
And a glass of port.
Yeah.
Mixing
and
them.
And whatever those, tablets that we're all taking for a bit were, snuzz or whatever it was.
Monkey glands or something, I don't know.
He talked about it in an interview, it's fine.
Don't be trying to out people here. But yeah, so at the end of, I was going to say at the end of week 2, with Leicester and Thingy still playing at this point in time, does mean that Chelsea are top of the table, Liverpool second, Brighton third, and Spurs fourth as the 4 teams that have got 2 wins out of 2. And then there's 3.
I'm a bit disappointed to see Spurs there, seeing as I said they'll finish 8th, and I don't fancy him to do anything. I was kind of hoping they'd have a bad start. Because most of the other stats I talked about have been about right, but then I was expecting a poor start.
Yeah, 2 1-0 wins. It's weird seeing Man City come off the back of a 5-0 win and the 10th.
In fairness, last season when they played us, which was October, which admittedly it was a late start to the season, so it wasn't that far in, but they were 14th when they came to Ellen Road.
Yeah, they were.
And then they won nearly every game.
Yeah, they went on didn't they win it was 20 out of 22 or something daft?
Yeah.
Went unbeaten in that as well. But yeah, because they really struggled at the start of last season, not having a striker.
Whereas now they've learned to not have a striker.
Yeah, really, really adapted to that just by having more attacking midfielders.
The 3 making up the relegation places at the moment: Norwich bottom, Arsenal 19th, Newcastle 18th.
You know what?
We'll call it
a season.
I'm good with that. I predicted 2 of them to go down, and even though I have no ill will towards Arsenal, I've actually one of the clubs out of the teams in the Premier League, one of the clubs I like more, because when I was growing up, they were the ones that used to beat Man United. So I was like, good for them. But it would be hysterically funny if they have a really bad season. I don't want them to finish 9th. That's dull. If they're going to have a bad season, I want it to be really bad.
Yeah, 15th.
Yeah, that's funny. Finishing 8th, 9th, because they finished 8th last season. That's no good. They either want to improve or get much worse.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, when all the fans were saying, no, we can really concentrate on the league because we've got no European football this year. And second bottom after 2 games.
in theory, that's not the worst thing because it worked for Chelsea that year when they won league under Conte. They weren't in Europe. And it meant that they were fresher than everyone. And it really did help. But the problem is, in order for that to work, you have to be some good. And they're not.
Have a good manager or something, any of those things.
Yeah, obviously it's too early to tell anything by the table. We've only 2 games in. Lots of teams have not hit the form. But I think we can also, we think it's probably going to be Norwich at the bottom or near the bottom of the table come April, May.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see him up. I mean, they will, because they do play some nice stuff. There will be a couple of games this season where they play really well and beat someone that you wouldn't expect them to, and not even in a backs to the wall way. They'll just play really well and just beat them, and everyone will go, "Oh, they've clicked into gear," and then it'll fall away again.
Yeah. For some reason, Sky thing does not want to load, so fuck you, Sky.
It's still 0-0.
I'm looking at next week's fixtures because we've got about like 10 minutes. We might as well do a few predictions for next week's fixtures if you want. Just wins or losses. No point in doing fucking full-on scores.
That's not the Super Six, is it?
We can do if you want.
Well,
we'll do a joint Super Six.
Yeah, early kickoff based on what we've just said. Man City v Arsenal.
6-0. Moving on. Villa versus Brentford should be a good game.
Score draw. Yes, I am doing the polls.
We're doing the polls. Jesus. That'll be interesting because obviously you've got the kind of the story there of Dean Smith return, playing against managing against his former club as well, which I know he has done because he obviously managed Villa in the Championship as well, but still adds to the narrative. But you'd think a Villa win. I would think just based on the squads, but I do think that Villa team will probably need another couple of weeks to actually gel and get used to playing with each other now. They've had to make quite a few changes up front.
Well, that's weird because I've got Brentford I've just got the sneaky feeling that Brentford are going to have a really good start to the season.
That will happen often, that we pick the 3 different results.
No.
There's not a fourth here to predict a 0-0 draw.
Yeah. Brighton versus Everton.
Ooh.
Brighton?
I've got to say Brighton. So after the way they played so far.
Even though Everton did end up having a lot of chances against us, it was all when we did something stupid. And the way Brighton are playing, they aren't doing very many stupid things. And Benitez away from home is not going to send them out and push them up. They'll sit relatively tight. So yeah, I fancy Brighton.
Score draw. Newcastle versus Southampton.
Relegation for both.
Can we pick 9-0?
Southampton.
I'm really struggling with that one.
Because they're both crap.
Yeah.
They'll
probably both beat us at some point. Now I've said that.
But we didn't mention it earlier either, but James Ward-Prowse signing a new 5-year deal, which I thought was a hell of a statement of intent. But
it wouldn't shock me if his is not a gentleman's agreement.
His is no, if we get relegated, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I can go for this much. If we go down, it's this much.
Yeah. It's obviously quite nice to see. You always want to see loyalty in the game, but at the same time, there is part you think you've seen the players that have been sold around you and thought, well, I suppose in football you're not committing to 5 years. You're just committing to your team getting a better fee for you.
Yeah, I'm committing to if Southampton go down, can we have him, please?
We do need another centre mid.
We do need a centre mid.
Speaking of weird transfer links, have you seen the transfer link of James Rodriguez to Newcastle?
Why?
Because Everton don't want him anymore.
Yeah, but Mike Ashley is not going to give someone that kind of wage.
Let alone the fee.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine the fee being a lot.
Literally, the only thing Newcastle have bought is an attacking mid.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they have bought. So they're not going to buy another one.
Yeah, but they don't need a defender. Is Paul Dummett still there? They don't need a defender.
No, they need a new manager.
And an owner.
Yeah, but for some reason, I've got a feeling Newcastle might sneak a win in this one. Norwich versus Leicester.
Leicester.
Yeah, you got to go Leicester, haven't you?
Yeah, and Daka finally starts. West Ham versus Palace.
0-0.
Oh, I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to be bold here. For some reason, I'm going to go Palace win.
It's another one. I'm going West Ham.
Oh, don't get me wrong, yours makes a lot more sense.
You've just got a sneaky feeling for Palace.
Yeah.
And then the big game for the Saturday, Liverpool versus Chelsea.
Ooh. I've got to go Chelsea. Sadly, I've got to go Chelsea. I think at the moment it's
based on what I've seen so far this season. Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah, I think at the moment, if as a Chelsea player, I think it's quite a happy place to be at the moment. You've got off to a good start to the season. Your big signing's got a goal on his debut, and is someone who, unlike all your other signings, strikers who haven't really worked out, is someone who already knows the league, knows the club, as is such vital in this game. I think when you've got a squad that's that good, and I think confidence is high, and I know Liverpool finished the season off well last season, and they're getting back to full strength, but I think unfortunately Chelsea is a happy place to be at the moment.
I'm going to say 1-1. I'm going to say Lukaku and Jota. Then on to the Sunday early kickoff, Burnley versus Leeds.
Well, we've got a couple of friends going to that, haven't we, Jack?
Yeah, we know a couple of people that are going to that. The thing is, like Burnley will play 2 up top, so we'll be playing 3-3-1-3. And we did look better in that shape against Everton. Despite the defensive errors, the actually on the ball, we looked quite good for a lot of it. And Burnley will sit back and let us have a lot of the ball, I would have thought. Like, they'll press wide, but they won't press constant. And, like, when we played them back end of last season, we absolutely battered them into the ground. I don't think we'll blow them away again, but I think we will win this.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for us to be playing them, just because, I spoke about the confidence being high at Chelsea. It must be an interesting place to be at Burnley at the moment, where there's not been a lot of investment. The big signing you've made is essentially a backup centre back. So he's not going to be featuring all that often. And that aside, it's most of your team from last season. Obviously, very used to the system and the style of play. Whereas you coming up at least against a Leeds side who could obviously still be reeling a little bit after the Man United game, and you having conceded another 2 against Everton as well. But that being said, having seen us against them last season, Calvin Phillips still being in the team, making us the best team in the division, clearly, because he's the best player in the world. And so, yeah, I'll go Leeds win.
I'm going to go score draw.
You bastard. Fuck off.
It's fair enough, really.
Don't worry, Casey, because if you do your normal, your special, just back Jack Harrison to score first, you'll be fine.
No, but I always go 2-1. That's the bet.
Oh,
not as a scorecast, just individually. Leads to win 2-1. Jack Harrison to score first.
Yeah, I don't think the last 2 are going to take us very long.
No, Spurs versus Watford.
Spurs.
Spurs. And Wolves versus Man United.
Wolves.
Fuck off.
No, Man United by Man United -2, I think, is a decent bet.
It is if Greenwood's up top.
I was going to say, if Martial plays, does that change?
-1.
No, if Martial plays, 1-1 draw. But yeah, so we will be back actually on Sunday. Seeing the last time, we said, we're going to be back on.
It's 1-0 West Ham.
Oh.
It's Pablo Fornals. Lovely finish
stuff.
as well. Fantastic play down the left. Cross goes in. First time finish into the bottom corner. I could have a job on Soccer Saturday. It's easy.
You could have a job on Soccer Saturday. Half the people they have don't know how to speak.
I will say, is it Craig? Is it Craig Dawson? No, what's his name?
The centre back.
The centre back.
Yeah,
is really good on getting in at the end of corners.
By the way, I did say fantastic play down the left-hand side. It's literally ball out to Benrahma on the left, cross, goal.
Right.
So I might have over-exaggerated that, but it's nice play. It's very good counter-attacking football.
What? No, Michael Dawson. Michael Dawson, the new guy that's on the Sky. I do actually quite rate him. He's been pretty decent on the few games that I've seen him.
I mean, I've got a lot of time for him, but Michael Dawson was one of my footballing boys for a long time, especially during the dark period of English international football from around 2008 to 2012, when Matthew Upson was a regular in the England squad.
I was literally just about to say, would he have played against Germany over Upson for you?
I would have played against Germany over Upson for me, and I'm a terrible defender. And Matthew Upson scored in that game.
Yeah, well, header, let it just hit him. They all count.
For Jack Grealish this week.
Very true. But yeah, as I said, that'll do us. We'll actually be back on Sunday this coming week, seeing as we were supposed to be back on Sunday yesterday. Well, yesterday.
Yep. I should be good. As far as I'm aware, I'm fine for Sunday, although I might come off a bit. Oh, no, actually, I should be fine because I start my first night shift after that. So I won't be knackered then. I'll be knackered a few hours later. It'll be fine.
Yeah. And I might be in really high spirits or I might be really fucking pissed off.
Yeah. Same.
But that'll do us for this episode of Stand Your Ground. As always, make sure you head on over to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube and search for @WTBdotcom. Subscribe, follow, like, do what you have to do, and make sure that you check out all the other fantastic live streams and articles that go up on the website at whatthebuzz.com. And if you want to hear more from Jack and Casey, you can listen to their Leeds United-based podcast. They're on Twitter at Mighty Whites Pod, live stream to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And then you can get their audio version everywhere other than Acast, because fuck Acast.
He's such a pro nowadays.
Yeah, for the ending bit. Can't do anything else in the podcast, but I can end a podcast.
Just wait until we get cease and desist from Acast.
Yeah.
You'll be making t-shirts soon. But that'll do us for this episode. So we'll see you next Sunday. I've been joined by Jack and Casey.
In a bit.
Cheers, mate.
And we'll see you next time.